Welcome to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetype guide. We are diving into the most combo-heavy, explosive, and famous synchro-focused deck in the game. Junk is a lineup of machine and warrior monsters built to turn small monsters into big synchro plays. This archetype is known for its swarming ability, fast combo chains, and its reliance on Junk Synchron as the heart of every synchro summon. Junk Blader is your straightforward beater that lets you gain extra attack by banishing a Junk monster from your GY. Best to use when you need a quick attack boost for trades or pushes, but avoid over-banishing since you need your GY for combo pieces. Junk Breaker is your field-wide negator that lets you tribute itself to negate all face-up monster effects. Best to use going second to break boards, but only when you absolutely need blanket negation since it costs your normal summon. Junk Collector is your trap recycler that lets you banish itself and a normal trap in your GY to copy that trap's effect. Best to use with powerful normal traps to turn them into reusable tech, but remember you still need the trap's activation condition to be valid. Junk Converter is your main combo starter that lets you discard itself and a tuner to search any Synchron monster. Best to use to grab Junk Synchron and extend into plays, and its GY Revive effect gives you a free tuner body for synchro setups. Junk Defender is your emergency wall that lets you special summon itself when an opponent declares a direct attack. Best to use for stalling or buying yourself one extra turn, especially when you need to survive long enough to synchro summon next turn. Junk Dragonlet is your free extender that lets you special summon it if you control a synchro monster and later boosts a synchro by 800 attack from the GY. Best to use mid-combo for field presence, but its attack boost from the GY is especially strong for pushing damage with your boss monsters. Junk Forward is your easy extender that lets you special summon it if you control no monsters. Best to use going second or as material for early combo setups without spending your normal summon. Junk Giant is your anti-big monster extender that lets you special summon it when your opponent controls a level 5 or higher monster. Best to use in higher level matchups since any synchro summon using it cannot be negated, making it a safe and protected combo piece. Junk Servant is your free body that lets you special summon it as long as you control a junk monster. Best to use for building the extra material you need for multiple synchro summons in one turn. Junkurabo is your hand trap style protection that lets you negate and destroy a card or effect that would inflict damage to you. Best to use against burn effects, time strategies, or effect damage combos, giving you safety from sudden life point loss. Anchorbolt Hedgehog is your free extender that lets you special summon it from the GY when you control Junk Warrior or a monster that mentions it. Best to use mid-combo when you need an extra body, but remember it locks you into synchro summons for the rest of the turn. Full Speed Warrior is your support monster that lets you boost attack for all monsters that mention Junk Warrior or Warrior synchros during the battle phase. Best to use as an early searcher for Junk Synchron, but the battle boost can help your synchros close games. Quillbolt Hedgehog is your easy extender that lets you revive itself from the GY as long as you control a tuner. Best to use in any combo that needs an extra non-tuner body, but remember it's banished when it leaves the field. Doppel Warrior is your token generator that lets you special summon it when a monster is revived from your GY. Best to use with Junk Synchron plays, since its Doppel tokens give you the extra material needed for multi-step synchro climbing. Rush Warrior is your combat trick that lets you double the attack of a warrior synchro monster during damage calculation. Best to use as a surprise finisher, but its GY effect to recover a synchron monster gives it amazing value even after being used. Salvage Warrior is your tribute summon extender that lets you special summon a tuner from your hand or GY. Best to use when you already expect to tribute summon, but it's also great for recovering key tuners you've lost mid-duel. Synchron Carrier is your additional normal summon engine that lets you normal summon a synchron monster alongside your regular summon. Best to use in hands with multiple tuners, and its token generation helps you build synchro layers efficiently. Synchron Explorer is your comeback tool that lets you revive a synchron monster from your GY when it's normal summoned. Best to use to access revive tuners for synchro plays, even though the revived monster has its effects negated. Tuningware is your flexible synchro material that can count as level 2 and draws you a card when used for a synchro summon. Best to use for smooth level matching and free card advantage during your synchro climbs. Junk Anchor is your tuner substitute that lets you count it as any synchron tuner and instantly synchro summon by reviving a non-tuner junk monster from your GY. Best to use for quick one-card synchro setups, but remember the materials get banished, so plan ahead if you rely on GY recycling. Junk Changer is your level-fixing tuner that lets you raise or lower the level of a junk monster when it's summoned. Best to use to hit the exact levels you need for synchro plays, but keep in mind it only changes level once per turn. Junk Mail is your recyclable tuner that protects any Synchro monster that used it as material from being destroyed by battle. Best to use as GY follow-up since it revives itself on later turns when you control a warrior, synchron, or start a synchro, but it gets banished when it leaves the field. Junk Synchron is your classic starter that lets you revive a low-level monster from your GY when it's normal summoned. Best to use as your primary playmaker for quick synchro access, but the revived monster has its effects negated. Jet Synchron is your searcher tuner that adds a junk monster from your deck when used as synchro material. Best to use as a combo extender thanks to its GY revival by discarding a card, but you can only use one of its effects per turn. Quick Draw Synchron is your discard-based extender that special summons itself and counts as any synchron tuner for synchro summons. Best to use for flexible synchro climbing, but it can only be used to make synchros that specifically list a synchron tuner. Scrap Synchron is your protective and flexible tuner that can be used from the hand for synchro summons that mention a synchron tuner. Best to use in combos where you want a surprise hand material, and it even protects Junk Warrior and Warrior synchros by banishing itself to prevent destruction. Unknown Synchron is your free special summon tuner when your opponent controls a monster and you don't. Best to use as a going second starter or extender, but you can only special summon it this way once per duel. Starlight Junction is your field setup card that lets you tribute a tuner to special summon a synchron monster with a different level straight from the deck. Best to use to fix levels for synchro climbing, and its opponent turn shuffle effect is great for removing threats without destroying them. Synchro Fellowship is your search and cycle spell that lets you add Junk Synchron plus a monster that mentions Junk Warrior or Stardust Dragon, then discard one card. Best to use as your double searcher to load your hand with combo pieces, and its GY effect helps you adjust levels while giving an extra normal summon for synchron monsters. Desynchro is your synchro reset button that lets you return a synchro monster to the extra deck and revive the exact materials used for it. Best to use with monsters like Junk Destroyer or Tuningware to reuse on summon effects or climb into higher synchros. Tuning is your consistency staple that lets you search any synchron tuner and then mills the top card of your deck. Best to use as your turn starter since the mill can even trigger extra GY effects for more value. Synchro Chase is your combo protection spell that stops your opponent from responding to your warrior, synchron, or stardust synchro monsters' effects. Best to use in extended synchro lines since it also revives one material after you synchro summon, giving you an immediate extender. Final Cross is your finishing move that lets a synchro you control attack twice, and if it's a warrior, synchron, or stardust synchro, it can also gain attack from one in your GY. Best to use when you're pushing for game, especially after a synchro was sent to your GY earlier in the turn. Scrap Fist is your power boost for Junk Warrior that gives it piercing, effect protection, double battle damage, and guaranteed destruction of the monster it battles. Best to use when committing to a Junk Warrior OTK turn, since every effect helps you deal huge damage safely. Scrap Iron Statue is your reactive trap that lets you destroy an opponent's already face-up spell trap when it activates, then resets itself instead of going to the GY. Best to use as a reusable control tool, and if it ever hits the GY, it becomes free value by reviving any junk monster from your GY. Junk Warrior is your classic power scaling boss that lets you gain attack equal to all the level 2 or lower monsters you control. Best to use when you have tokens or low-level extenders on the field, since it can easily jump to huge attack numbers for pressure or OTK plays. Junk Warrior Extreme is your explosive extender that lets you revive as many level 2 or lower monsters from your GY as possible on synchro summon. Best to use early in your combo since you're locked to only one more special summon afterward, but the tag out effect into another Junk Synchro makes it perfect for snowballing into bigger bosses. Junk Gardna is your easy defensive synchro that lets you change an opponent's monster's battle position on either player's turn. Best to use for interrupting attacks or switching bosses into defense, and even when it leaves the field, it gives you another position change to disrupt plays. Junk Berserker is your attack manipulation synchro that lets you banish a junk monster from your GY to reduce an opponent's monster's attack by that exact amount. Best to use to break boards or push through mid-range monsters, and its built-in destruction of any defense position monster it attacks gives you reliable field control. Junk Destroyer is your big board breaker that lets you destroy cards up to the number of non-tuners used for its synchro summon. Best to use when you have multiple materials ready, since summoning it with 3 or more monsters can wipe entire fields on its own. Junk Speeder is your main combo starter that lets you special summon as many synchron tuners with different levels as possible from your deck. Best to use when you want to explode into multiple synchro summons in a single turn, and its doubling attack effect helps it swing hard if you need combat pressure. Junk Connector is your link utility piece that lets you perform a synchro summon as a quick effect using monsters it points to. Best to use for disrupting your opponent on their turn or extending on yours, and if it gets destroyed, it floats into a junk synchro straight from the extra deck for free value. Gravity Warrior is your pressure-building synchro that lets you gain 300 attack for every face-up monster your opponent controls. Best to use when your opponent has a wide field, and its forced attack effect can punish defensive boards or drag weaker monsters into unwanted battles. Jet Warrior is your bounce and extend synchro that lets you return any one card your opponent controls to the hand on summon. Best to use as a mid-combo disruption piece, and its ability to revive itself by tributing a level 2 or lower monster makes it amazing for climbing into bigger synchros. Lightning Warrior is your chip damage synchro that lets you burn your opponent for 300 damage per card in their hand when it destroys a monster by battle. Best to use when your opponent has a big hand size, turning even a simple battle win into meaningful burn pressure. Mighty Warrior is your battle-heavy synchro that lets you inflict damage equal to half the destroyed monster's original attack. Best to use to punish high-attack monsters. Taking out a big body can deal massive burns and swing the duel's momentum. Scarred Warrior is your protection-focused synchro that forces your opponent to attack it first and also survives one battle destruction each turn. Best to use as a defensive wall while you set up your board, especially when you need a warrior that stays on the field through combat. Scrap Warrior is your combo security synchro that prevents your other junk warrior-related monsters from having their activated effects negated. Best to use when you want your combos to go uninterrupted, and its search or send effect for Junk Synchron or any card that mentions Junk Warrior helps you set up exactly what you need. Seven Swords Warrior is your equip-based synchro that lets you burn 800 damage each time it gets an equip card and later destroy monsters when those equip cards hit the GY. Best to use in builds that run multiple equip cards, letting you combine burn and destruction for extra pressure each turn. The main goal of Junk Archetype is to spam the field with low-level monsters, then use Synchrons and your self-summoning monsters to climb into powerful Synchro Monsters. This playstyle revolves around summoning Junk Synchron as fast as possible to revive a level 2 or lower monster from the GY. It sets up instant Synchro summons and jumpstarts nearly every combo in the deck. Cards like Forward, Servant, Level Warrior, and Quill Bolt help you flood the field without using your normal summon. This lets you build synchro lines quickly while keeping extra materials ready for follow-up combos. With Doppel Warrior, you can generate Doppel tokens when it's used as synchro material. Those tokens become instant fuel for multi-step synchro climbing, making cards like Junk Destroyer reach full power. Junk Anchor can act as Junk Synchron for synchro summons and even special summon another monster. This gives you alternative lines when you don't open Junk Synchron, keeping your plays consistent. By combining revived monsters, tokens, and self-summoners, you can climb into higher synchros like Junk Destroyer or level 7 to 8 warrior synchros. This style focuses on removing threats while building an overwhelming board. However, even with all its speed, Junk does have some clear vulnerabilities that opponents can exploit. If Junk Synchron gets negated or removed, many combo lines fall apart instantly. This makes cards like Effect Valor or Ash Blossom extra punishing. Most junk monsters are very small on their own, making them easy targets before your synchro monsters arrive. A single strong monster can slow down your early momentum. Cards like Dimensional Barrier or Discord that prevents synchro summoning can completely stop your turn. Since your entire deck revolves around synchro plays, floodgates hit extremely hard. Even after synchro summoning, some of your monsters lack protection or negation. This means one board wipe or well-timed disruption can undo all your setup. And some combos like Doppel Warrior with Junk Anchor can fail because Doppel Warrior misses timing. This makes the deck require careful sequencing and can punish misplays. Therefore, the Junk Archetype is perfect for duelists who love fast-paced synchro combos, creative combo routing, and explosive turns that go from 0 to full board in seconds. So if you enjoy swarming, synchro climbing, and using Synchrons to pop off massive combos, then the Junk Archetype is definitely your style. A non-stop engine of creativity and flashy plays.